no last stand. My crown is buried by my hand. Blue and gold, once proud, once bright, now swallowed whole by endless night. I am decay, and I will feast. Your chapter falls beneath my feet. Gleaming suns will face my wrath. In every breath, your lungs turn black. Your noble heart, I turn to ash in my shadow. Your hopes will crash. I am the play, I am the rot, the end of all that you forgot. You fought for hope, you fought for lies. Now your shining world slowly dies. From the skies I bring despair. Your warrior choke on poisoned air. My crime in flames, hear the cries. My chariot's blade, watch its glory dies. The angel falls, you're on a sword. In death your soldiers are reborn. There's no salvation, no last stand. My crown is buried by my hand. My crown.
Right, everybody. Here we are. Hello. I hope everyone's doing well. I thought we'd just jump in for another quick chat. Don't worry, you should better hear me in 1 second. Tell me if you can hear me now. Sorry, I was kind of half talking to myself while I was getting the PowerPoint sorted out. I shall wait for you guys to tell me if you can hear me. Thank you. Cool. Right. And is the volume okay? Good, good, good. Nice to see everybody. Strong boy, how you doing? B-Mob, how are you doing? Scott, good to have you here. Purple Haze, hello, Tell. Hopefully you can hear me now. Scott, who have got? Christos, Hugh Janus, it's been a while. Good to see you in the chat. Mikey, good to see you as well. So what I thought I'd just jump on and do a quick one about tonight, given we talked about it a bit in the chat, is a, and this is not me saying this, I have to do this, but it's something that I did when I started playing. I rocked up to LGT having played for 3 months, and as you can imagine, that was a pretty daunting task. And I realized that it was taking me ages to deploy, and that I was really kind of worried about what my opponent was doing and how I was going to handle it. So, being someone who works in business and uses PowerPoint all the time, I thought what would be really easy to do is build a process that would allow me to get to a table. And given that DG is slow, and often it doesn't really matter what you're going to do, because you need to have a plan as to how you're going to activate. But obviously, the order in which you put things down can be different. So you might want to use your bigger pieces last in case, like a Mortarian, to make a change. But fundamentally, you should probably have an idea of where things are going to be and where you're gonna go to. So before we get into that, let me just check if there's any more in the chat. Brian, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Let's go. Morten Brandt, that's really nice of you to say. I'm glad it's a nice surprise. We want to keep trying to put content out, and hopefully just little impromptu things like this are the kind of thing you guys want to see as well. I like jumping on and doing a quick kind of hangout stream, so it might be kind of 45 minutes ish, but you know, jump into the chat if you've got things you want to say about as we go through this. I'd love to hear what you guys think. This is probably aimed at people who are less less au fait with the tournament scene, or people who are struggling with getting to a table and kind of panicking to deploy. So this is what this is for. I want to show you what I did during the process. Before we get into it further as well, like, comment, subscribe, the important stuff. As Aidan always says, if you want to be a really good nurgling, then please join. If there is a join description, join link in the description down below now, as is the link to the Baron of Dice, our new partner, where you can get, if you buy through them, that helps us, and you can get all your dice through there. We are getting the next batch of Disgustingly Resilient dice through them. There will be 2,000 of this in this time, so everybody will be able to get them, and we'll keep you up to date on how that goes, but check those guys out. I'll get the other bits out of the way too. You can check out Element Games for going and buying all your model needs, and that will support the channel as well. You can go to Vanguard Tactics for lessons, masterclasses, ways to play, academy, and just loads of generally great content on there. Go and check those guys out. And Saltire Games if you need measurement tools. They do a whole 3D printed kit, which is all Disgustingly Resilient made, that has turn management, what contagions you're using, sicknesses, and measurement crits. So check those guys out too. Jack to the chat. A few more people have joined in. Guys, this is great for an impromptu one. Thanks for joining. Lazy, you're back now. Good. What did you get for lunch? I ruined your lunch plans. You're going to get Japanese themed hot dogs. What, like kind of katsu sauce on a hot dog in a bao bun or something, or in a something along those lines, perhaps, or an udon noodle dog. Parafoxen, getting some quality time with the boys. Oh, that's nice. What dog have you got? Where are you going? Dana, amazing. DGD knows noobs like me need deployment training. No, this is not meant like that. This is just purely me trying to give you guys a way to potentially deal with this. So what I'm going to show you, like I said, is exactly what I used to do, and how I would run it. Wearing the shirt again. And I'm going to take you back in time to LGT October 2022. So I'd been playing for under a year at this point, and this is exactly what I did. Hey, Dats and Des, how you doing? Congratulations on being a member for 12 months. Cool. Really good. The tools are awesome. Highly recommended. Great quality and durable. Chris, nice of you to say. Okay, well, hopefully, Dana, this is going to be helpful for you. But like I said, you might find this quite funny. So this is literally the deck that I took to LGT 2022. So for those who don't know, LGT is run by UKTC, which is the tournaments that Aidan, Will, and I play on a lot. It has its own terrain set up. It's the main tournament organizer for UK, and LGT is the biggest event. It's second in the world to LVO, and so going to one of these is quite a big deal, especially when I was a newer player at this point. I've been playing just over a year, and I'll show you how I kind of handled it. Now, I need to zoom in a bit on this, sorry, to make it a bit easier for you guys. That's a bit better. So this is 9th, but I'm going to go into some 10th in a moment, but this is just to give you the kind of the view of it. So what I would do is I'd put 2 slides together, one for each, one for each round. So 2 for each round. One was, what was the mission? What's the map look like? What were the secondaries I should probably think of? Parafoxen, 3-month Plague Marine tier. Thank you so much for staying with us. Phil, glad you could join. Hopefully this will be useful for you. So I would look at what secondaries were going to be important or not. This is less for 10th. And I'd put down things to remember. So what are the important things either in my list or my opponent's list? And then at the bottom was the mission specific. So what you're seeing on here are basically, look, back in the day, Blightlord Terminators times 10, DSTs times 5, Typhus, Poxwalkers, more Blightlord Terminators, Deshra Terminators. Can you guess that I was running heavy Terminator lists at this point? So I would do one for what my deployment was going to look like, and then one for where did I want to be turn 1. Because often I found that when I was playing new, that I wasn't good at that point in terms of being too reactive, and that Death Shroud were slow, and so I needed to go this is where I want to be turn one. And because a lot of my stuff is tough, I can get there and do it. So I would go no further than that. I would just try and do what's my deployment look like? Where do I want to be turn one? So let's just jump down to what we would do for what you guys can do for 10th. So I've changed this around a little bit for 10th, but it follows the same rules. What I would go and do, and I know it's different. I know it's different for some of you guys in this space. Hang on, I'm going to go UKTC events. So hopefully in a moment. So what I would do is I would go to the tournament organizer's site, and I would look at the mission pack, and once obviously you've got your list and you've submitted it, you've read the mission pack and you know what you're going to take and how you think it's going to perform against it. So I would copy the map out for round one. I would add no worries. That's Des. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. That's a lot of fun. And Paraf, thank you. You're very welcome. So I would take the map out and I would put it on the left-hand side, and then at the top I would put terrain. What am I playing on? UKTC, WTC, GW. And, what am I playing? So is it versus Sisters? Is it versus Necrons? Is it versus Imperial Knights? Whatever it is, whack that at the top. Then over here, what's the mission? What's the mission detail that I need to remember? So when I'm playing the game, that I'm going to be like, and I'm reading it, and I'm just checking this while it's next to my deployment to drill it into my head. What I've got to remember, what mission rule is in effect, and then what's my opponent's kind of key detachment capability. So when you put that all together, you then have, and this is an example of UKTC round one deployment. So this is the map that's in the mission pack. So I can see each cube is an inch. So I've got some ideas for that. And I can see that the mission is terraform. So what I've got to remember that an action is done on an objective marker outside my deployment zone. So I know, right, I can't do it here, that it's done in my shooting phase and ends at the end of my opponent's next turn or end of the battle. So I need to keep stuff safe. That can be done by multiple units per turn. So there are 3 objectives. I could terraform turn 1 outside my deployment zone, and that I can score 4 VP for each objective marker I control, and an extra 2 for controlling an objective marker you terraform during the battle. So I know what the scoring is for the main primary, and then I know what the bonuses I need to do on it. And then the second applicated rule is swift action. So that is battle line units can perform an action after advancing or falling back. So now I know what my list is. It's reminded me that I can advance Plague Marines out of a Rhino onto a point. I can just advance them from out of cover. I could do that with Plague Bearers. So I just need to go back, check my keywords, and double check that I know which of my units are going to let me do that. And turn 1 for us, this is particularly useful, and knowing that because we are slow, as we know, but I probably can get Plague Marines out of a Rhino, push it forwards, and then roll in advance and still do terraform. And that's particularly useful with like a fight first 10-man brick. Lazy, I can absolutely share this with you. I will. So the gridded ones, these are UKTC only, and that might be fine for you, but for our American friends, they may not be, and Australian, Canadian, anywhere else people are watching. Those are not the only place in the world. I don't know if these maps are around. If you go into the GW tournament companion on the download on Warcom, you can find in there the maps, and I think those are gridded, so it's worth checking out. Lazy, thank you for saying that. Absolutely, that's totally true. Whilst I'm talking about this is not by any chance and by any means the be all and end all of how you do this. The Discord, become a member, join the Discord. It isn't just about paying us small. I think it's $2.99 a month to be a Plague Marine, and you get access to the Discord. But once you're in there, there are now 515, I think, Death Guard players and Death Guard fans or Death Guard enthusiasts that will help you and talk about anything. These guys, what I always say, it might have started with Aidan, Will, and I or Aidan particularly, and Will starting it up to try and help people. but the Discord has been, the lunatics have taken over the asylum. Discord is totally run by our community, and it's amazing to see what people are putting in there and how they're helping each other. So it's definitely a strong one. Chris, big deal on TF can be in position to just prevent others from starting terraforms. Yeah, totally true. Since you can't terraform objectives, someone else is doing it on. Yeah, very true. And if you because they have to control it, so yeah, you can just having stuff on those as well is a really good point. You can really stop people doing it. Lazy, that's very, very kind of you. If you just got given a membership by Lazy, please say thank you. 5 people can now join the worship of Carl. Yes, the cult of Carl, which I still don't completely get, but cool. So yeah, so basically, then what you want to do is is take this, and you can take it. You take it then one step further. So what we do is you can do it roughly. This is very roughly, and this is not a 2,000 point list. I've just mentally just gone, oh, here's some things, and what you can start to do then is kind of drop these down and start to go, where am I going to put things and why do I want to put them there? And you can think about this stuff before you get to the event. So especially if you don't have a table set up or you don't have a club to play at, and it's not easy to do this kind of way is a really good way for you to kind of be like, how much can I put there? What do the lines of sight roughly look like? Because these on an inch by inch grid are actually pretty helpful for that front. Phil, what about putting DST or types into strike circ? Attach or leave type as solo? Is it possible an opponent? It's a question that basically means it depends what your opponent's got. If you're playing a unit, an army that can smother the board, then really quickly, and especially if you don't go first, then you kind of want to have a lot more on the table, almost everything. If you're playing an opponent that wants to castle up, or doesn't have a huge amount of units, or you've got firepower that's going to keep them hidden in their deployment zone, then you can afford to put more in deep strike as a risk. Typhus works both attached and solo. If you're going to think about running him solo, then there's a couple of things you want to consider. Have you got 3 other characters to attach, or let's pretend it's 1 unit. Have you got another character you can attach to that unit if you need it to give you the -1 to be wounded over strength 6, or -1 damage with a sorcerer? Typhus then solo is amazing to just drop in and do mortal wounds to something, or to drop behind enemy lines if they leave a gap. And depending on the matchup, you might want his -1 to be hit inside the unit and therefore attach him to the unit and then take the other character and use that solo. It depends on your matchups. Thank you, Hugh. That's very reassuring. So what we've then got kind of over here is what I've just done as a rough deployment bit is I've gone, right, we're playing, if we remember, we're playing Terraform, and we can see that over here. So we want to be on objectives, and we want to be controlling them, and then we want to be doing an action on them. And we can advance or fall back and do an action with battle line units. So what I've pretended here is that this Rhino over here has got 10 Plague Marines in it, fight first. I've got Predator Destructor behind it, so it's going to be out of line of sight from anything that's kind of here. I might draw some lines. So my opponent doesn't want to deploy in the open anyway, but if they do, and excuse me if some of these are not quite perfect, I just threw these down before we started, then they're going to, even if they get over here, they're not threatening my Rhino or my Predator Destructor. The Morty is in the middle here, but if the opponent is kind of here, you could position Morty. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty damn good. He can't be shot from that angle, and if they want to bring something into the middle kind of here, then from this position, then they're going to be putting stuff in the open, which you could then wheel the Predator over to get a shot on. The Terraform does indeed make the match a lot more interactive because people have to come forward, and if it's also really important in the early game with Terraform. Sorry, this isn't meant to be turning into a secondary tactical one, but with Terraform, if you can Terraform early, do it. It puts a lot of pressure on your opponent to chase. Weed Ghost, welcome to being a Plague Marine. Thank you very much for joining. Please join the Discord. Link is in the description, and as I said, there's tons of amazing people in there to help out with stuff. So what I'm looking at here, and the reason I've done this is I can disembark 8 from the Rhino. I can then roll a tiny advance, and I can then put 8 to 10 OC if I'm just towing around here, be right against the wall with a fight first Plague Marine unit, which people don't want to come onto, and I can start to terraform because of the mission rule, because it's helped me remember that that is what I can do. What I would then think about doing is saying, right, if I'm playing Necrons here and Hypercrypt, and we're saying, right, the thing to remember is they can pick up units, then I want to be able to screen my backfield pretty effectively. So the Poxwalkers are sitting here because to get shots on them, the opponent's going to have to put something in the open here, which is not a very sensible thing to do at this point. I've got a couple of units of Death Shard Terminators in 2 small bricks in reserve. I've got Typhus in reserve, funnily enough, Phil, and the Plague Bus, which is, for those of you who don't know what the Plague Bus is, it's a Rhino with 2 Malignant Plague Casters in it, which is basically a flame tank. So that's what we're kind of going for. Over here, I've got another Predator Destructor, which is sitting behind the cover to pop out left or right to get firing lanes onto there, up there. If anything horrible drops in here for some reason, which it wouldn't be able to, it could also shoot it. And then we've got 10 cultists that are just, some are outside of the building, some are inside, but all on the line. So there's a scout move. So let's say then we move onto it and we go first. So what we can start to look at is going, well, kind of what I want to do. So this is not meant to be a really serious thing. It's just to show you what the next stage is and what you can do afterwards. Plague Bus is life. Is what we're saying is, so our Rhino is going to have disembarked the Plague Marines. We tucked it originally over on this side of the wall to get as close to the objective as possible. They then come out 8. They need a 2 to get on the objective. So we've now got a 10-man fights first unit pushed right against the wall, which is giving us extra threat range into this area here, or across this way, or if the opponent drops anything out here of value, which they might need to in order to try and hurt Morty or the Predator Drone, the Predator. These guys can terraform because of the mission rule. The cultists behind the wall are going to push out Scout 6, move 6, and then roll an advance. And let's say we get a 5 or a 6 on the advance, because we're going to be generous in this little instance. So we can pen our opponent and stop them coming through the wall and make them have to move elsewhere, plus leave a cultist on the point because we might get a storm hostile objective or something. Laser Chicken, how you doing? B-Mob, wow, there you go. You joined the chat and you got a free membership. Amazing. So the cultists are going to be, something a bit annoying. Stop a unit coming straight through the wall. We know the opponent can pick up 3 units and drop them down again, but the DSTs have now pushed. What you would do is actually push them against the wall here with the character sitting behind, so they've got, even with a 4-inch move, they are on the objective with a 4-inch move and have got an easy charge into anything touching onto the objective. The cultists being here as well mean that if they have to drop down, they can only drop into the middle in this space here, making it even easier. And if they drop over here or over here, then they're not on the objective, and we don't really care too much. The other thing I've done here is, just for an example, is then gone, you scout 6, you move 6, and you roll an advance, and you tuck them a bit tidier than this, but you can then put 10 OC behind the wall here, meaning to get shots off, the opponent has to come into this space here, which you've then got a Predator Destructor floating around that protects this area here. You just poke it out this way, or you poke it out this way, and you've got a shot there, but then you've also got shots up into this position here. Our other Predator Destructor is going to have moved this way, once again saying that if anything moves into this space to get shots on Morty or whatever, it's now got 2 targets, 2 things that can shoot, and then Morty's got a 10-inch move and a big threat there, and there's a Plague Marine threat to charge in here. The Rhino's shuffled over, so we are just protecting our deployment zone. The Poxwalkers have spread out along the back as much as we can after the to enable basic screening, and then we've got there's a bit of a gap here, but it's they're going to have to do a 3-inch to get it in, and the monolith doesn't fit in this space here, and there's another 9-inch kind of bit over there if we move it over a little bit. So we've kind of screened out our backfield. We've got lines of fire if we need to retaliate onto our opponent. If our opponent had gone first, then we could still move the Predators to kind of get this. We could still do this kind of movement. We could potentially out OC on this point. We've still got threat onto anything on the middle in the next turn. And if you wanted to kind of stop a terraform, you could just chuck all 10 cultists onto it there. You could chuck all 10 cultists onto it here and usually get more OC on. And then you've obviously got 2 units of 3 Death Shard Terminators, Typhus, and a Plague Buster come on from reserves and nuke something in the next turn. But I guess that's a basic example of kind of how what I was doing with what I was doing when I was starting to kind of play to work out what I was going to do, how to remind myself when I'm there putting the units down that next to me on my, you could do it as a printout. If you've got a if you've got it on a phone, you might be able to look at it. If you've got a little tablet, like an old iPad or something, or an old little one, you could take it on that. But printing it out is pretty easy. You can get one of those folders that's got the kind of empty pockets in it and just whack them in there. And eventually you just won't need this. But if you're kind of new to the game and finding it out that Parafox, see you later. Mora, how you doing? But if you're new to the game, I certainly found this helped me so much. The fact that I could just rock up to a table and be like, right, I know what I need to achieve in this because I'm looking at the mission and I know what the mission goal is. To a certain extent, I'm mostly slow enough in the army that I can't do too much reaction to my opponent. You can still do the whole put the bigger things down last, and keep your opponent guessing where Morty's going to go. And you might adjust it very slightly on the really big important units, but mostly you can get away with playing a deployment, getting used to it, learning how what kind of widths things are, and you'll find as you play loads and loads of tournaments that you'll just be like, I know that, I know what that line, I know that's 9, and that's an 8, I know I'm screening, and that will just become second nature. But this is a really good way to kind of get you into that, to learn the missions, to learn the actions, to remember what the objectives are, to what the mission rule is, and what your opponent's core kind of rule is. The other thing I would, it's not to do with this so much, but when you're at the table, if you've got reserves, put them on the table in front of you. Put them along the side, kind of here, or something, because I certainly did it in the early part of my career where I had a small, like a three-man unit or something, and I know at least once because it wasn't on the table, I forgot it was there because it was on the top of a bag or it was underneath the table or something like that. So just put them on the table in front of you. It's also a bit of a distraction for your opponent and reminds them that there is more stuff to come in and makes them a bit more wary. Lazy, how much do you find your pre-plan your deployment drops versus reactive opponent drops in game? When I first started playing, I stuck to this. This is what I was going to do. I walked up to the table and I did it. I still stuck to things like, if we go back a slide, hold on. So I still deployed with trying to keep everything hidden, and that's something certainly as I've gotten more experienced in playing that you just do naturally now, and intent is much more important. But when I first was doing this, I stuck to these plans, and I just learned what the right ways to do things was. It just became second nature. Then you start playing reactively to a certain extent, but there's still things like the Death Shroud are going there because they are going to push up against the wall, and then they are going to be threatening the middle objective. My cultists are going to go there because if I go first, they are going to be moving 6 and then moving 6 and then rolling in advance to pen my opponent in. So I am going to do that. My predators are in this instance probably are going to sit on each flank because it keeps my opponent honest. I'm developing firing lane there. Sorry, I'm developing a firing lane threat like there. If he touches onto this space here, I've got or I could move it into this space here and have a firing lane threat there, or I could have a firing lane threat there, and then this one over here is doing a similar job. It could poke out and it could shoot this way if they kind of move if my opponent comes there, or it could poke its way over this side, and then it's got a firing lane over here. So I'm still going to put them kind of in the same place, the core units. I just might hide Morty more, or I might put less in Deep Strike. I would still find, or the Rhino might go, if there's no real anti-vehicle, for example, I might just start the Rhino, kind of here. If I was playing World Eaters, for example, or something that's not going to shoot my Rhino off the table, I might put it here and make it hard to get to. Yes, they could advance and charge, but I might, sorry. But then I might jump out with Plague Marines or whatever, so I might not care that that's there. So there's things like that. I might be less cautious in my deployment in terms of hiding, and I might give myself more space if there's less anti-tank on the table. But I don't think my core deployment would probably be too much different. You just learn to do it without one of these. Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of the core thing of what I wanted to show you about. But if we go back to this like 2022 one, I literally did it for every game. So it was like, right, that's what I was going to do, and then look, remember we used to have a 12-inch bubble of, and then round two. Okay, so this is what the map looks like, and here's where I'm going to put things, and that's what the mission is at the bottom. And then round three, I'm going to do that, and day two, game one, day two, game two, So that's kind of I did uh, Ben, how are you doing? Are you okay? No, there's no detention. You can just write out "I am a naughty plague marine" 50 times. In fact, 77 times. Um, the you could hopefully you can catch this on replay. So I'll throw it open to chat a bit more there. What do you think? Is this kind of thing helpful? I can turn this into more of a template. So with just insert, put map here, do it here for multiple games. Do people think this is a potentially useful way to learn to deploy? And if you don't say anything, I will hang up and go away. Whilst anyone's thinking, I will also do a shameless plug for drpstore.com, which is where you can get lovely shirts like this, and you can annoy Aiden with Cultist 11 on the back on one of them. But cool. I hope that was helpful. Like I said, if anyone's got any questions, I'm in the Discord as well, so put them in there. I will turn this into a template and I'll drop it into the Discord for members. So it's another reason to become a member, like Weedghost did, and like BMob did. Have a go with it. See how it works. If you like it, give it a try. Sorry, I'm just going to see what Lazy said. Could we do future ones where we submit lists with missions, maps, and you could run through a thought process? Yeah. Hugh, thanks very much. I like how interactive you guys are with the chat when you guys hit the big time and the big TG cultural icons. um, I'm glad. I'm glad. It's kind of what I do, but I just don't draw it out. I just do it in my head, so I know. Yeah, yeah. Listen, that's totally fine. This, like I said, this is probably aimed more for people who are just don't get to play huge amounts or just getting into tournament. And when you're just starting to play, it can be quite overwhelming when you're at a table, particularly if you're playing someone who just knows what they're doing. But I mean, when I played my DG mirror match against my at LGT this year, a couple of months ago. I was just playing my turn super fast, and my opponent was like, he's like, "Wow, you really play fast." And I was like, "It's just because I only play Death Guard, and I know what all of it does. I know how far all of it moves, and I kind of have got an idea of where I want to do next." So that's what this helps build towards. Let me just jump back to Lazy's comment. Could we do future ones where we submit lists with missions, maps, and you could run through your thought process on where things go? Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I'm actually thinking of doing is, because I've pretty much got everything in that cabinet over there, which I'll show you guys another time. What I was going to think of doing is I actually might set I've got pretty big space in the kitchen. I might set up a table with terrain, and might even try and get my wife to even hold the camera for a bit, or set it up, and I might even do a real deploy with real models on it or something like that. So that could be a way to do it, but we can also do it in TTS, like some of the other suggestions have been, and that's a pretty good way to do it as well. It's probably a bit slower in TTS to move things around so much, but I think we can do it with. I'd quite like to do it with the models. I think that might be a fun way to do it. Jump back to chat. Yeah, Michael, I agree. Lazy had a great idea there. Strong Boy, do you guys fancy? Dave? Do you guys doing a WCW spread hot take? Nice number of DGs this year. Yeah, I think we probably will. Death Guard is very popular. I don't know if you've all been paying attention to a lot of it, but there's been a huge amount of oh god, hang on, what have I just done to myself there. Yeah, there's been a huge amount of Death Guard interest. And I think if you look at all the lists, the hot take lists that everyone's doing right now, it's quite funny because they're all saying basically Death Guard's really up there. The I was watching the fireside chat with Vic Vijay and David Gaylord, who are both obviously amazing players. They got to a point on their tiering list where what they said was how many what's the total amount of what's the army that you all think is going to be the surprise at these events, and they all said Death Guard. Death Guard are in A tier on most people's lists, which is quite mad. Um, and they, I think more people are going to take it than previously thought. So I'm not surprised WCW's got a lot of them. I think at Aiden, the event Aiden's going to, if you watch the 18 Death Shroud list, most recent video we chatted about, he said at the event he's going to, there's out of 30 odd players, there's 7 Death Guard players and there's 72 Death Shroud. So uh, the army's in a good place. It can do a lot of good. Aidan and I and Will actually shared a few lists earlier on, which is the next, I think, thing we're going to talk about, which is a bit more armored. There's some really horrible combinations of stuff we can do with the points. So we'll see where it goes. Prometheus, thank you very much for the super chat. That's always really, really appreciated. You are very welcome. I find it honestly. So I find it mad that, like, I think when I joined the guys, we were at like 3,000 ish subscribers. It's now at like 7,450, and it's growing every day, and it really means a lot that you guys like what we're doing. And I think considering that we talk about Death Guard all the time and only Death Guard, and I know we kind of cover a few other bits, but it means a lot that you guys find it useful and hopefully entertaining, and we really enjoy doing it. So thank you very much for your continued support. Let me go back to the chat. Bug it. So I am curious. He said, curious what my day job is. So I am the director of new media and content distribution for Sony Sports. So I'm responsible for building innovations in the business for within the sports industry. That's around the way we work with brands like the tournament organizers like NBA, NFL, broadcasters like Sky, Fox, ESPN, TikTok, Facebook, Google, Meta, and Microsoft, and coming up with using usually technology and ways that we can make it more accessible to people and more engaging for fans. So I kind of try and solve problems around that stuff, and is what I do. Prior to that, I did 5 years in PlayStation, and my jobs have always been in tech and gaming and streaming and stuff like that. Um, Prometheus, yeah. So you're saying you like it done with real models, yeah? I think that'd be fun. We'll give it a try and see if it works. It'll be interesting to see if my wife will be willing to stand and do it. I might have to get one of my 40k local friends to come and do it. Des, see if you can get a battle map with a grid on it as well. That's a really interesting idea. I know there's GameMat.eu, I think, make one with all the markings on it, but I don't know if a battle map with 1 inch grids on it is a really interesting idea. Do you mean that because setting up the terrain, or do you mean that because of where, like, just putting the models down and getting an idea for it? Chris, are you talking about the oh yeah, sorry, yeah, there's a massive difference. Death Guards everywhere. So kudos to everyone that stuck with the faction during the downtimes. I think we're in a really great place, as we always talk about. What's to be said here? Hugh, so live it up till that December nerf. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm definitely going to play 18 Death Shroud now. See what it does, but I think we might. I'm hoping, should I say? I hope we're in for a surprise in the December slate. I think we, particularly as Death Guard, we've been waiting so long for a codex, and we know it's going to be 2025 and probably, I don't know, summer or something. That I'm hoping that we get some kind of extra, because last time it was points, and this time they said every other one there'll be some kind of additional rules. So let's hope we get something. Let's hope we get something good. And see what happens. Oh, another bit of news. I will be going to play on Vanguard Tactics again. 4th of December, I think the current date is. So I will put that into the Discord and let you know. But yeah, I think I'm playing Stephen again at the new studio. So I can't wait to go and see the guys. A lot of them are great friends, and I had so much fun playing last time. I'm looking forward to going back down there and doing it again. Lazy, what's the thing you will do for the channel when you reach 7777? It's a good question. It is maybe the holiest of numbers because I think 77,777 is quite a long way off. Um, we'll have to we'll have to have a think on that one. Maybe we could get a nice cake or something with lots of candles on it. But it is mad to think that we'll get to 7777 in a couple of weeks, maybe even. Um, it's really cool. I'd say that if you guys have been kind of telling other people about the channel, that's great and that's really really kind. So thank you to anybody who's helped bring other people into it. If you've got people or friends that are interested in playing Death Guard, do get them to check out the channel. Like a lot of our content is available to watch. We don't make lots of it hidden. I think the fact that we try to keep membership benefits on the Discord and things like this, and we'll share this template into the Discord and things. I'm hoping that's kind of a lot of the areas where the members get a lot of benefit from us, and you guys get a lot of interaction, as you said, kind of from us, and we love kind of talking to the chat. Hugh, yeah, cool sports. They were still A1 120. Yeah, Chris, they absolutely were. I won't be taking lots of them down. Bug it, no worries. Always happy to share. Um, um, yeah, we'll see what goes on with. I'll see what the maps look like if there's anything with it, but we could just do it with tape measures and stuff. It won't be too difficult. I just need someone else to film it, and we can make that happen. Will and Aiden aren't that far apart. Maybe they might get together and do it at some point. That'd be quite fun. I might do some video as well from Leicester, like after games. Maybe do some video clips and stuff like that, and bring that, and then we could publish those as shorts or back into the Discord for the members. Chris, crush who? Who do you want me to crush? I have got a game. I'm playing at club tomorrow, so I'm taking the 18 Death Shroud Morty list that I put up on Aiden's video. Though I might take 3 sorcerers just to try Will's tech of potentially detaching and have the option of that, and just seeing what -1 damage or 2 CP -2 damage does. David Jones, my GT this weekend, as a non-DG player, I have 70% chance of running into at least one DG player. Wow, yeah, that's huge. How many players are at the event? That'd be really interesting. And also, what are you playing? Hugh, I hope you walk into that Vanguard Tactics game with. Oh, I see. Sorry, Chris. Strong boy. You're saying crush Stephen. Hugh, I hope you walk into that Vanguard Tactics game with the water bottle labeled. Yeah, I'll have to see if we can make that happen again. It won't be because of gambits this time, because we're not doing that this time. But if he wants me to do it, I would do it just because it's only fair. I think what could make him cry there is 3 PBCs, 3 Predator Destructors, some 20 Plague Marines in groups of 5 and 2 Rhinos. No, we'll see. It's probably going to be pre-data slate as well, so I might still take lots and lots of Death Shroud as the last time I can do it, and maybe we'll see. I might drop in. I might drop into Discord and see what you guys think. Your opponent is at Vanguard, especially if it's Steve. Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, I'm hoping it's Steve again. But I haven't played Jake yet. I haven't played Michael. I haven't played George, so I'd love to play any of those guys, and we'll see how it goes. I'm playing against 18 Death Shroud tonight, Lazy. You're playing against it with a sorcerer. Thank goodness I'm playing with Morty. You've got a mirror match against 18 Death Shroud and more, and you've got Morty. Wow. Okay. I want to hear him complain about the sicknesses for a week. Lazy. Don't and bring 3 do Don Strat. Yeah. I'm kind of keen to. I'm keen to give Don's crab list a go at some point. It's just on UKTC terrain. It's not very friendly. There's just not a huge amount of space. So I don't. I think I'd struggle to kind of play that list. I can play 6 predators on it. I'm good at car parking, but I think the crabs are just that much bigger. Um, no, he wouldn't. You're right. Or I could put a soul grinder and a couple of crabs and some PBCs together. That could be quite horrible. Um, Guys, is there anything else anyone wants to talk about from the deployment side? I'm probably going to go and jump and go and get myself some dinner. Lazy, sorry for ruining your lunch. Um, so yeah, we arranged it so we can both prep for tournament at the end of the month, where there's lots of other Death Guard too. I don't think it's a bad plan to practice into Death Guard. Um, you're yeah, it's a good thing to get a practice into, but it's a really weird game. The things you've got to remember, the really weird things for Death Guard Mirror Match are things like Tank Shock, when you're -1 toughness as a Death Guard player, and you get one less dice, and you totally forget that all the time. Or the opponent says, um, and actually it's minus this to your save, and you're like, why? And they're like, oh yeah, because you're Death Guard too, and you can do that. Um, yeah. Uh, Kazuma, 18 Death Shroud. What about 60 Plague Marines? Yeah, it's been done. It just takes ages to play. It's tons and tons of moving. Um, and if it's most people don't own 6 Rhinos and 60 Plague Marines to do it. It's a totally viable build that I think actually it would work really well, but Plague Marines are fairly squishy. 40 Marines, Strong Boy, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Does the 18 Death Shroud spoil the Enfield spoiler? Absolutely not. And in fact, I think you've all seen him, but just for those who haven't, I'm going to show you the Despoiler's big brother. Um, Jesus, Christ, this thing's massive. So this is the Despoiler's big brother. He's going to have a name at some point, but I'm running him. I am going to run him in a Crusade game at some point. It goes up to 3,000 points. That's my Death Guard Porphyrion, and to keep him company. Um, also got a Death Guard Lancer. When you run out of Death Guard to collect Death Guard coloured things. Um, so um, does the 18 Death Shroud spell the Enfield spoiler? So no, it doesn't. I really actually enjoyed it, and I will do another video talking more about the Despoiler in depth. I think I covered it pretty well in the video about Despoiler with Aiden. It's a lot of fun. It's it, the the version of it I want to try is with the two massive melted weapons, which and bring it on from reserves because it's 24-inch range, 12 inches puts you in half, and I think it's melt to 6, and you get 2d3 on each one. So bring that one from reserve into something's tanks and just be like, bye. I think that could be quite amusing. Yes, Prometheus, Rotten Lancer, Carl Stabby, nice night collection. Yeah, it's getting a bit silly. I think I've got 6 big knights now. I think it's on, and then I've got 10 war dogs. I think so. Just as a good options. Yeah, the knights are still a great mix in for Death Guard, and absolutely totally valid in the list still. I think, and like we've said before, we're not saying, to be really clear, that the 18 Death Shroud list is the list. It's not the list. It is not the best point scoring tournament facing game. It's definitely not. There's a much better list in there. We might have worked on another version which is closer to that, which we're bouncing around today. But it is really fun to play 18 Death Shroud. It's just yeah, it's just interesting. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go and get some dinner. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you joining a little ad hoc stream. I hope it was entertaining. I hope it was useful. I'll get that template into the chat. I will show some more of the models in the collection next time. Remember, if you want to support us, please like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you're watching this on repeat now. That all really helps us. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That will tell you when new video content is out. If you want to wear some great apparel like we have, go to drpstore.com. I'm going to add a whole new range of products on there this weekend, but there's some great stuff there. Just enjoy playing your Death Guard, everybody. And as Aidan would say, stay rotten, and as I would say, see you on the Plague Planet. And Will, Aidan, and I will be back next week for another stream on Tuesday. There'll be another plague surgery soon, and I look forward to getting back into that and talking about this. So, guys,